As a retired Air Force veteran, being part of private organizations, I knew it was important to be part of a team that worked towards a common goal. So the union, to me, represents that.
Hi, I'm Katie from the Department for Professional Employees, AFL-CIO. I'm here with Eve from the Professional Aviation Safety Specialists, or PASS union. Eve, can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, where you work, your job, and your union?
I work for the U.S. Department of Transportation, specifically the Federal Aviation Administration at Chicago TradeCon, which is located in Elgin, Illinois. So we're not too far from the city. And I specifically support air traffic services as a management and program analyst, which is very similar to a project manager or program manager. And basically, I work together with the training department, policy and procedures, quality assurance, reviewing um, everything for the air traffic controllers certification process.
When did you become a PASS member?
So in January 18 is when our bargaining unit was accepted under PASS. The air traffic services, specifically the management and program analysts and the management and program assistants. They collaborated and they accepted us into specifically Region 5, which covers the entire United States. It's not just in one region, we're spread out all through the United States, Alaska, Guam, and Hawaii. So that was in January 18th, and I joined in February, just a month after.
Why did you join your union and become active in your union?
So as a retired Air Force veteran, being part of private organizations, I knew it was important to be part of a team that works towards a common goal. So the union, to me, represents that because we're working towards better benefits and representing constituents where our voice matters. So just being part of the process in the decision-making process is why I became an active member not only as a Chicago district rep, but also as the Illinois vice president.
It's awesome. And how has your workplace changed since the Air Traffic Services Air Traffic Services Department organized with PASS?
So the agency, the Federal Aviation Agency, has always had unions. They have the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, and they've also had the Professional Aviation Safety Specialists, specifically the big bargaining unit under PASS is the technical operations side. So they are familiar with unions. It's just specifically our bargaining unit that represents the management and program analysts and the assistants. It's a process that they have to get used to because we never got represented before. And now that we have reps, district reps and facility reps, we can work with the managers and all the managers, facility managers and district managers, with any grievance process that involves changes, changes in the workplace, changes in their performance, any policy changes that they want to just throw at us. Now we have someone that can fight for us. So that's what's taking our current managers some time to adjust.
And with your representation, what improvements have you and your coworkers experienced as PASS members?
So right now, because we are very new, we're going to be experiencing soon the end of year pay raise, which is going to be coming up to a little bit over 7% combined for all of us, not just the union. The union has a specific every year. We have I think a 4.6, And plus now we will also see the government pay rate, the pay rate. So it's all chunked together and we will see it at the end of the year. In addition to that, now being part of the union, we are afforded, or we are authorized, overtime and overtime pay. So before they would, tell us we can stay late and they won't pay us, or they would just throw a project at us and they won't pay us for those projects. We're also authorized alternate work schedules, telework, and reasonable accommodations, which is very important for people that have specific situations, whether they're medical or they have situations where they're dependent, where they have to be present more at home. So that's something that um, is really good for all of our employees.
And what did you know about unions before you became a member of PASS?
Basically just everything that the media depicted. Having a group of people picketing in front of wherever their organization was, whether it was in the highway or in front of schools, in front of airports, just that's what I saw. And I saw that how important that was for them to be seen so they can make a change. So that was the picketing part, is the important piece, because you're seen. The media covers you and they hear you and they ask you questions and you're out there and you're able to just have a voice and tell people what's going on and what you're fighting for. So that's what I've seen, and that I like it.
And what have you learned that maybe wasn't portrayed in the media about unions?
So what's not portrayed in the media is that there's process in the decision making process. It's a lengthy process that has to go back and forth with the agency in order for it to get approved. So there's votes involved. So it's important to have active members because their votes matter. And the more votes you have, just like in elections, um, whatever thing you're fighting for, it passes, right? Because it's all on votes, and each vote represents a member or a region or a specific group of people. So that's what matters, is having active members organizing together to make that change for better benefits.
And what advice would you give other professionals interested in joining a union?
I would say if you are in a non-union environment where there isn't a union process and you don't know anything about the union, I would say reach out. There's so many, like here in the city, like Chicago is a big union city. Um, just get involved and ask and learn from other organizations on how to form a union to fight for your benefits. Because you can't complain about your benefits if you're not part of the process. So in order to be part of the process, you have to be active. You have to be able to be heard, and you have to be active to be heard and have a voice in the decision-making process. And that's what's important.
Yeah, and anybody who's interested in learning more about forming a union and who's in a non-union workplace, they can email us at DPE at organize@dpeaflcio.org. And I want to thank you, Eve, for speaking with me today about your union experience.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and for having me.